So it started out with Daxmir putting Thaumaturgy on and screaming in the face of the halfling who emerged from the hatch below, and then Lucian tried to place the halfling under arrest, and the halfling just kind of just smirked and was like, "How exactly were you expecting this to go?" And then he and the two undead that were trying to incapacitate everybody. Lucian got his sword knocked out of his hands at one point, and then the fight on that end became, for a couple of turns, like everybody like knocking Lucian's sword around and trying to get a hold of the thing. Some people got some minor damage to their maximum hit points, but other than that, everything went pretty well. I dedicate most of that to the fact that I gave these guys half of their normal hit points because they're newborns. Normally they have 50, and that's too much for right now, considering your circumstances. But with two of them with 25, you were able to pretty effectively handle it with one casualty. Sneak attacked somebody and then ran away, and the undead followed him out of the room and knocked out his remaining 9 hit points exactly. But then Lucian immediately followed up and just destroyed that one's entire neck with a big kick. So, but you are partially healed, and during the second, pretty early on, the dog used a modified version of the howling that's in the stat block normally of the creature I based the dog off of to do a frighten, but in this case, in addition to doing a frighten, also had a healing surge effect, which allowed everybody to heal hit points as though they had received the benefits of a short rest. And I did that because nobody had done a short rest in a while, and you all had your full hit die because of that, and this allowed you to stand your ground properly. Damien spent the fight using the help action to give people advantage at a couple of times, and you spent the fight sacred flaming some people, sacred flaming and undead, and not doing super well, but not missing, so that's good. And at this point, the undead who came out, natural 1 on his save against the fear effect, so he toppled bodily backward back into the hatch, and you heard some movement down there, but since both of the undead up top have been destroyed, you hadn't gotten any sort of indication of what was going on. And before the fight started, the halfling who emerged from the hatch was saying basically that, when Lucian was like, "We place you under arrest," he was like, "Well, I could place you under arrest for trespassing the sacred land of Luren and interfering with our attempts to reclaim everything." But the fight kicked off before anything could really come out of that, because you heard another voice down there from the halfling who was reading Manacle saying basically, "Stop being macho, just shoot them." And he missed when he tried that, but it was a valiant opportunity. Valiant attempt. That was the word. Valiant attempt.
Hello.
And you've recently started having a discussion with the dog about why this tomb exists, and you learned that there was somebody in the Underdark who gave her life getting a bunch of people to the surface 100 years ago when the spell plague hit, and Ergogolan honored her memory by giving her the benefit of this gentle repose spell around this whole area that both acts as a normal gentle repose for everything in here, and also keeps the floodwaters from coming in and destroying this place. I mean, there's a lot less floodwater now, but just the spell's still active. So that's where everything's been so far. Ergogolan was the halfling god of the restful dead. who was you briefly encountered Urgogolon stuff before because there was a consecration dedicated to Urgogolon protecting the cemetery.
Okay, so we have pretty much figured out at this point that the reason we couldn't figure out where they were getting bodies is because they were getting them from here because they screwed around with the magic, right? Something like that?
Yeah, that seems to be like it seems to be that something about this place, or possibly something about the magical modifications they did to the way the spell works in this place, allowed them to not just like bring all of the meat back to somebody's dead bones and restore their body to what it looked like in life, but to like overclock it and basically turn them into immature versions of other undead. And yeah, and they were using this place to do that.
Okay.
Just kind of hearing the summarized tale of this Underdark citizen, I'll turn to the Guardian and just kind of inform him. I'll attempt to send some proper representatives out to take care and restore this crypt a little bit, because it sounds like a very exciting history, part of history that the halflings may want to preserve, at least the ones that aren't desecrating it.
I would appreciate that, but for now, there may be something still going on. And the dog goes over and is actually like standing next to the crypt structure, near the hatch, but seems to be too big to go down in there without a lot of effort. And it seems like if he's going to be going down in there, he wants to go down last because it's going to take him a bit of a squeeze.
You said that was pretty much halfling sized. It would be somewhat of a squeeze for us too, right?
Yeah, the secret door was about halfling size. This is a little bigger, but it's way too big for a large sized creature like him to go down in there without a real big effort. So you guys are going to be able to go in there. Basically going to have to duck or whatever the equivalent of ducking would be for something like this, but yeah, the hole's big enough that you guys would be able to go in. You'll have to go in like single file line, obviously, because.
So is there like a ladder down there? Do we see him at the bottom still?
If you look down in there, then actually, you don't. Remember before when I rolled a 17 for seemed like no reason? That was an athletics check to see if the guys on the other end could successfully just get everything that Kriv used to block the door out of the way. And that was the movement that you heard. Somebody trying to go over there and move that around. So
so he put something. So after he fell down in there, he closed it and sealed and blocked it.
After he fell down in there, no. After he fell down in there, the movement that you heard was like. Your characters wouldn't necessarily know this right away, like unless you're gonna like try and open the top and look down there and see who's in there. But like basically, the guy who fell down in there and Martin have probably escaped at this point. And if like they didn't have it didn't seem like anybody was going to be going up and locking it because the halfling who was frightened can't get close to the dog because of the frightened condition, and going up there and locking everything would require getting closer. But
okay,
yeah.
So it is still open. That's what I'm trying to establish.
Yeah, it's still open.
Cool. I'm gonna walk over there. I'm not gonna look down. I'm just gonna fish out like a handful of ball bearings and drop them down there. So if anybody's standing there, then they're gonna get a handful of ball bearings on their head.
All right, you hear a clatter of metal on stone as the ball bearings are going down in there. They seem to be moving for significantly longer than you would expect if it's a flat floor, but judging by the way that the dog was describing the place, it probably like slopes down and eventually goes
Right.
into the end of the protection.
Okay,
I will
that just
begin
seemed like
to
a good way to check.
descend. Yeah. I'm gonna go down.
All right.
All right, I'll go too.
I'm going. Yes.
So we all down there?
Yeah, if you want to be.
I want to see if we missed somebody. I don't think Kriv said.
Yeah, he'll go down. If everyone else will, he will.
Yeah. Damien's just going to do what everybody else would do because Damien's not here right now, so can just do whatever. In fact, now that the combat's over, Damien can probably just like gray back into the background. So you're down under there. No one seems to be down here. You see, actually, no, this would be something that like passive perception would pick out. Ran, what's your passive perception? I remember Lucian had the highest, but maybe you had the. I meant to write all these passives down, and I keep forgetting because I keep having a bunch of other stuff going on at the last minute.
Passive perception is wisdom.
It should be written down on your sheet what your passive perception is.
I think it's 11, but
Really?
what's the what skill do I use for passive
Maybe
perception?
it's Damien who had a really high passive perception.
Yeah, it was probably Damien being the ranger and all.
Can I ask what everyone use for their passive perception skill?
Your perception skill. It's your perception plus 10.
Oh, okay. It's just okay.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
11.
Damien who has a really high one. Okay. Now that I've got this open, actually, I'll just. Oh, you gave Kriv a last name.
Yeah. And also I put his full name down.
Okay. So out of all of this, I've already looked at everybody else's. I'm going to look at Tears', even though I'm pretty sure Tears doesn't have a 14 or higher in this.
I don't. It's a 12.
All right. So, Lucian, aside from like what Tirza was describing before when she sent her new cat buddy down to investigate the place, it seems that like whoever was in here now, like whoever was in here before, isn't in here now. And like the dead magic items are still scattered on the floor. But you see like underneath the space where there was just an empty floor where there were a bunch of undead previously, there's like a slight discoloration around the area, like not directly underneath any undead in particular, but just like on the same area where some of the undead were scattered, directly underneath it in here, there's like a slight discoloration in the stone. But other than that, like it seems relatively ordinary. Like even the area that the older halfling was facing to do whatever it is that he was doing to drain the magic out of these magic items is it's, at least from your appearance at this point, just a blank part of the crypt face.
Well, first, I'm just going to announce out loud to everybody, it appears our prey is gone. Rather unfortunate, but we did get a name and some general appearances, so we know who we're looking for if they show up in town.
Got a name?
We got Martin. Martin's a name. And I'd like to investigate the discoloration, because I'm thinking it's time-based. Like a patina of some form.
All right, make an investigation check. Oh, I forgot I scrolled up a bit. Okay.
Yep, I don't know. I don't know anything about stone.
Looks at the ground. That's definitely some rocks.
That's definitely two different colors. Can't quite put my finger on it, but it's two different colors.
Yeah.
I'm just staring intently at it and not getting anything. Just like it means something, but I don't know. You also said now non-usable magic items, right? Or
Yeah.
depleted?
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff that, like, judging by the way everything's set up and some of the designs that are on there, it looks like they used to be magic items, but they're dead at this point. Actually, I'm gonna just for fun. Oh, I need to R. I need to R this. Yeah, they're dead.
Crib.
That was a percentage chance to see if one of them was still active, but no. It would be a pretty low percentage chance, and 14 doesn't hit it.
All right. Crib, do you happen to know what these items might have been, or could you take a look at them?
Yeah, Kriv will go over to the items. Would I be able to do an Arcana check on any of them?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
just like a random one.
Yeah, you can do an Arcana check to, like, do you want to just, like, pick up one of them and then do something, or you just want to do an Arcana check just over the whole business? For the whole thing?
Probably over the whole thing.
Okay.
In fact, Kriv will call over Tears to be like, "Hey, you wanna help?" And like hand her or like hold out something for her to check.
She'll look at him suspiciously, but definitely, yeah, I'll help. Oof.
Okay. You need that advantage.
Yeah.
Good call. Well,
Okay.
Not that much better.
So, yeah, like, they just seem to be just a bunch of, like, there's no real specific, like, theme. Like, not like, oh man, they're all weapons, or they're all pieces of armor. But, yeah, they're just, like, a bunch of things down here. It seems like, this isn't really an Arcana as much as just an observation, but it seems like there's definitely, like, more down here. However, like five or six halflings could have brought down in one sitting. So it might take a long time to do, or maybe they just didn't, like, clear it out after they were done doing whatever they were doing the first time. No real specific theme, but you can't really, like, figure out anything particular about what they were or what they were doing.
Okay, Kriv will grab some and like what would be a main thing that he'd spot out?
So there were I'd imagine that, like, for somebody who's actively versed in how magic items work, that, like, the big flashy things, like, it's like, oh man, here's this dramatic, like, full plate armor, wouldn't necessarily, like, ring all the most bells, because, like, that sort of thing, you know what it does, and enchanting it just, like, makes it better at doing that. But there are a few things down here that, just seem to be relatively abstract forms. There's one that kind of resembles that spherical iron stone that was also dead, that you knocked out of the skull of that fanged undead you fought last time. But there are a couple more things like that, just in small shapes and other small structures. A couple of things that just seem to be like relatively gem-like in design that you don't know what they do, but probably did something important, because if this sort of thing was enchanted, it probably did.
Alright, Chris is gonna grab a decent amount of those.
All right.
I mean, he's gonna try to grab as much as he can, but if he can't get all of it,
Yeah, you can if you want to, you can just like carry the stuff out of there. It's all like it's all relatively basic, like nothing much more than, in terms of equipment, that you already, than the sorts of things that you already have. Ran, you do find a couple of daggers in here that maybe used to have an enchantment at some point but are now dead, but you were looking for an extra dagger.
Oh yeah, I'll take that.
All right, so you've got so now you didn't have an extra dagger, and now you have a replacement dagger and two extra daggers.
Sweet. Hey, Rand,
We.
can I have
Wait.
my dagger back?
Oh yeah, and I'm not gonna throw it. I'm just gonna
Yeah, please
give
don't.
it back.
Thank you. Turn it handle out and pass it. Good Boy Scout style.
Scout's honor.
Okay, I will now delete the little parentheses that says Rand next to my dagger on my character sheet.
All right.
Is there any more paperwork I can compile? I'm gonna have a portfolio of these guys. I'm gonna bust them, like parking tickets, unpaid taxes. I'm getting them like a
make an investigation
Al Capone.
check.
Oh, I was just about to ask if I could make an investigation check when he was.
Both
they
of you.
missed their rent 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Both of you can.
Between this place and like their old hideout, we have lots of like paperwork on them now.
Yeah, but like the paperwork from the old place, nothing was really left in there that was reasonably
Relevant.
incriminating, other than like some maps you didn't have the keys for. But this place they left in a hurry, so there could still be stuff.
Yeah.
I got a 10.
All right. Lucian, you don't find anything, but Tirza, you find a small leather-bound notebook that appears to have just been like kicked under a part of the crypt structure that bulges out from above the ceiling at some point, probably like while they were running, fell out of somebody's pocket and they like accidentally like kicked it with their with the back of their foot as they were leaving.
I imagine she just sort of like flip through it a little bit real quick.
Yeah.
Been like 5 seconds. Just kind of huff a little. Go, Lucian! Here.
Yes, thank you.
Just hand it to him.
No, it's in halfling actually.
I just want a reason to use my gnomish. That's all I want. But all right,
Maybe
it's an
at some
halfling.
point, if you find gnomes or people who communicate a lot with gnomes, you could. But no. At this point, if you find any mysterious language from very short people, it's going to be halfling.
Can I look for any loot? Like
I mean,
loot?
you've got a bunch of loot here, but it's all like mundane swords at this point. You could bring stuff back and like maybe like give it to the guards and like we're sorry about breaking into the house. Here's all this extra equipment. Or you could try and like
Yes.
keep it around and sell it when you head back to the city
Also,
or something
yes.
like that. Like you could do any number of things with all this, but at this point it's not really like of that much practical immediate use unless you like having like 4 swords.
The downside
like-
of that being, like, most likely, where they got this stuff is from the commission itself, like by fair means or by foul. So basically, we'd probably be selling them back their own stuff.
That's
Yeah,
capitalism.
but- True.
They don't. Well, they don't know.
Can't find the lie.
Well, they don't know that, so.
Well,
we-
they might, but yeah.
If they are from the settlement and we do bring them back, then they might have, I don't know, paperwork, some people who might have bought these weapons, and that could
That's
help us
true.
track down the people. So Kriv will, like, well, one, ask Dax for that bag.
Dang it,
like the
that's too
sack.
logical. I like it, but dang.
Yep. I'll give you a
And-
fresh one because the one we had is kind of yucky because the guy had it in his mouth. So I'll give you another one.
Yeah, so
There
Kriv
you
will
go.
just start putting, like, the used to be magical items in that, and then just grab, like, a sword or two and just be like, okay, let's go.
Can I look for a rare loot? Like something much.
No,
okay.
I rolled the D100. None of these magic items are still.
And
Oh.
we also kind of found those magic items earlier in the dungeon.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave you a bunch of stuff. If you want, you can convince Kriv to give you that stopwatch.
Nah, don't need that. Stop it.
All right.
I'm gonna grab all of the weapons here that Grip and everyone doesn't take to sell it back in the town so I get more money.
All right.
Okay, so we're headed back up through the tunnel back to
Are
the
you,
where the dog's at, right?
So when you were saying before that, like, you were calling Lucian over, anything, or was he super busy, or did you talk to somebody else about the notebook, or you decide like, he's busy and like pocket it?
Wait, what?
You had the notebook and you were flipping through it, and it was in halfling, and you were like, what?
Yeah, I just
Like
kind
calling him
of like, I can't. I don't care enough. And that's when she handed it to Lucian.
Okay.
So she might have seen like a few pages, and just decided she didn't care enough.
I'm just gonna tuck it into my breast pocket and just hold it until
You're not gonna
hold it
read
until I have time. Well, this is probably not the best location to look it over.
All right. So yeah, you now have. Did you have 2 or 3 of those whistles? I think you had 3 of them.
Yeah, I think we had 3.
Remember.
Because there was the one in the drawer, the one that you got off Dead Halfling, and
Don't we also get another one off of a dead halfling?
no, there was another one that like there was a halfling that you would like used a spell on or something, and no, you knocked like the guy who was knocked unconscious. You were like looking around seeing if you had anything on him, and he had this like weird magic item around his neck. I remember
yeah.
because I made like it was like, is there a chain? I was like, no, he's a halfling, not Mr. T.
I remember that joke.
So yeah, you have 3 of these. I'm just running everything down, making sure that of importance that you guys have, you know that you have. All right, so yeah, got your sack full of stuff.
Yep.
What do you want to go up and do now? You were saying before you wanted to maybe go up and talk about something.
Actually, I mean, presumably we probably want to go out that way and just like check in, tell the dog that like they got away. So
Mm-hmm.
the other guys got away.
And we could try to find them.
Well, I don't think we should try to find them right now because we're all pretty wrecked. Oh, sorry, my mic's like way off.
All the documents.
We've got enough to incriminate them right now and like very likely identify that other guy that was like leading, so apparently the leader, so And we've got prisoners. Don't we still have prisoners, or did they all get away
Oh yeah.
or die?
I think they all got away.
You
They all
had
got
one, but he managed to wriggle his way out when you were distracted by fighting the skeletons, and before escaping, he cut Rand's rope up into 4 pieces, so it'd be too short to tie anybody up anymore.
Didn't we?
Didn't we knock
Didn't
somebody
we?
out
Well,
after that?
Huh?
Didn't we knock?
didn't we knock somebody else unconscious?
Yeah.
No. There was one guy who was like mauled by the dog. There was one guy who was captured and tied up, and then wriggled his way out. And then you were dragging him around. And he wriggled his way out again, and then the other 4.
Because what about
Were-
the guy who pretended to play dead and then used inflict wounds? What's his situation? Is he dead?
He's dead. Yeah,
Oh, okay, I
he's a
forgot.
corpse. I remember specifically somebody was like examining his body after he got shot in the neck, and like, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? No, he's a corpse.
Okay. I could not remember. Good job, Lucien.
My expert opinion: deceased.
Great. I mean, should we like take one of them back to see?
I'm proud if I've thoroughly examined.
Yeah, really. So should we
Did-
take one of
did
them,
you
like the ones
actually
that's
just
dead?
make a Wizard of Oz reference? Is that
Indeed,
right?
he
Yes.
did. The Wizard of Othra.
That's almost worse. What you just said.
Oh my god.
Anyway, should we take one of the ones we killed back so they can maybe identify him, maybe figure out who he's connected to?
Yeah, you can if you want to.
I think we probably should.
Maybe they have like a speak to dead people spell.
Could be.
Then we only need. Oh god, that's too grisly for Lucian to actually say. I was about to say. Then we only need their head.
Oh
No.
jeez.
Ooh.
I played a headhunter in one of my first campaigns, so
So how many halfling, no longer living halflings do we have here?
We don't need that many, do we? So I don't know
I'm
about you,
just
but I'm
checking.
not carrying one.
I will carry one.
You have actually the actual fatality rate among the guys here was fairly low percentage wise. There's the one that the dog killed, and the one that you guys killed. And the one that you guys killed is still fairly intact. The one that the dog killed is pretty smashed up because he was like
Ah.
slammed into the wall a bunch of times.
Ah.
Like if you just need like the skull or whatever, like you can just you can still bring him along. But if you want to carry one, you should bring the inflict wounds guy,
Okay.
and not the guy who's sitting back being like, I'm gonna just guard all these things, wait until there's enough room that I can bring them back in and have them all fixed up properly. Oh no, a dog!
Didn't we have like 2 other halflings that down in the crypt right now, hiding somewhere maybe?
There was the one you tied up and the 2 that we lost.
And then 2 more. The one is the one who fell down to the crypt, and one more who answers from the guy who fell down from the crypt.
those are the 2 that we lost.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty well accounted for. That we don't have any surviving captives or potential captives.
Yeah. Daxmir's not happy about that. Alright. Well, I'll take the one that's less wrecked. I'll wrap him up in something. Like a blanket.
I'm gonna ask Dax. Dax, professional opinion. Should we burn this place?
Should we burn it? No. Not yet, anyway. No, I mean, this place is, technically sacred. It's just they screwed it up. So, hopefully our the canine friend can help, like, purify it or whatever. Or maybe the druids can help with
Also,
that.
point of order, it's mostly rock.
Yeah, that too.
Oh.
You'd
So
be able
no.
to burn the tables we broke.
The tables.
Crib, how many legs have you stolen on the trip up? From the
Shyly looks down and says 3.
There's a chair that like Kriv was like cut to last session when Kriv was trying to shove those 2 chairs in front of the door. It's like, this chair's not gonna fit. It's not going in the right angle. Just like karate chops 3 of its legs off.
Oh my
Well, if
God.
no one else is using them, tucks in his cloak.
I mean, no one noticed. Everyone walked out of the room. Might as well.
Instead of a
So-
headhunter, he's a leg hunter.
Mighty leg hunter.
So Crib's
Anyway.
rocking a total of 4 wooden furniture legs.
All right.
We just need like a piece of plywood to make your own table with it.
Kriv, the funky leg hunter. Okay, never mind. I guess MC Hammer references are like way too obscure in this case. Anyway, so
Okay.
like no one responded. Anyway, so you leave.
Nah.
Yay.
I'll make sure. I'll keep, even though I'm carrying the guy, I'm still gonna have an eye out to make sure they're not gonna ambush us on the way out. But probably they've booked it, so.
I feel like we're in need of a long rest too, because it took like an
Yes.
entire day to get here.
Do we
What
want-
time?
Yeah.
What time is it?
I'm pretty sure the past like 3 or 4 sessions have just been us in this one day.
Yeah, it has been you in this one day. I was about to say, like, you head out and it's the middle of the night. Like, if you were gonna be not like midnight, the middle of the night, but it's like it seems to have been sundown for a while. And yeah, at this point, if you were going to track these guys, you technically still can, but considering that it's dark and they've got a head start, it would be probably pretty hard. So probably best to like either find a place to camp out here or spend the long amount of time it's going to.
Camp.
Camp.
Yep.
For sure.
I'm gonna look for a nice flat area to pitch my tent in, because I now have a tent.
It's just a tent for 2 people though, so everybody
Yeah.
else is going to need to find their own arrangements.
Well,
I'm
it's
just
for
gonna-
2 people, but it fits me, myself, and I.
9 pieces of 8.
Damien probably like sleeps in a tree or under a tree, whichever one seems more appropriate.
They're keeping first watch then.
I'll probably sit under the tree, like, using something as my pillow.
Who was taking first watch?
I figured if Damien's sleeping in a tree, probably wouldn't hurt to let them take first watch.
I mean, also the dog guardian. I don't know if it
Oh, did the
actually
dog-
needs sleep.
Did
Doesn't
Papa
it have to
come with
stay?
us?
Didn't have to stay.
You know you want to have the pupper come with us, Othra.
The popper.
I mean, it would be fun, but the dog is bound by celestial breadth of purpose to the crypt.
You know Tears would
If
try
you
to
if
bring
you ask the dog says the dog politely declines, and if you insist, the dog gives the extra information that he's not even sure he'd be able to leave without Ergogolan's permission.
You see Tears
Yeah.
like start to metaphorically roll up her sleeves, like, all right.
I'm just gonna nod silently because I too understand duty and honor.
Okay. Actually, I want to retcon a little bit because I meant to do this and then I got sidetracked by roleplay and table legs. But I was
thought
going to
that's
ask
Kriv
the
who got
dog.
sidetracked by table.
We all got sidetracked with tables. I was going to ask the dog if like he needed anything before we leave.
I mean, I don't need to eat, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. Just Anything you need us to do since we can leave and you can't?
Hmm. He goes over to the two skeletons that you were fighting before, and he goes to the one who had the fangs and the claws. He pushes the smaller skeleton out of the way, like respectfully, but like making it pretty clear, like not this one in particular. And he stands over the one with the fangs. Give this one a proper burial.
Okay. I'll pack in with the with the dead halfling. Dax is pretty strong. He can carry them both. I'll ask him what his name was.
Marat.
All right, thank you. Oh, wait, that sounds familiar. Does that sound familiar to anybody else?
It does.
It does.
But I'm so bad at taking notes.
I'm
I
not
had to
taking notes
back
at
up my room
all.
and then got the
So.
question. What did you say, Dex?
The
Okay, never mind.
yeah,
I'll shake it off.
the skeleton's name, Marat.
Oh well.
Who's
Anyway, I
Marat?
don't know.
That's what I'm trying to remember.
Oh no, you know what? It was one of the Dragonborn?
Yeah, for
It was
Rot,
similar- had a
the
similar name.
Dragonborn. Yes.
Okay.
Borat was a dragonborn.
My
Yes.
bad.
Marat is someone else.
Okay. So you said you said this was the fanged one?
Yes.
Do I know what kind of skeleton this is?
Somebody roll a medicine check. It's not going to be a hard one, but roll a medicine check.
I will.
What's your modifier there?
No. Nothing.
I got +3.
Okay, you go. Well,
yeah, +3
you
to
can
nothing.
both roll, or one of you can roll with advantage. Like,
here, I'll give
I'll
give you advantage. You try.
Better.
That's enough. It looks like in life, whoever this was a tabaxi.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's really interesting, actually, considering this is a dog here. All right. Okay. Anyway, end retcon. I just wanted to check about that.
Mhm.
Odd name for a tabaxi, but okay. Intriguing.
Could you type the name in chat for me, Othra, so I can write it down, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Could I do just a minor history check to actually see what where the closest known location of tabaxis might be?
Sure.
I'm not fluent
Holy
in tabaxi at all.
I mean, some of them move here. Like they tend to get around.
Yeah,
They can walk.
they're like cats, right? So they do cat things. I've never owned a cat, but sure.
Sure.
Toby looks at you disdainfully.
And meows at you.
Yeah, here, if you want some Foley work, here you go. There.
All right.
Anyway.
So, yeah, you guys set up camp for the night. Damien is assigned first watch, and he's like, all right, I'm fine with that.
I will actually take first. I'll actually take first watch too, just because Dax is a night owl.
All right. So yeah, the two of you hunker down around this tree. Damien's sitting in some branches. Daxamir down at the bottom.
I'm gonna play some music with my harmonica, and it's actually Take Me Home Country Road.
I need to Need to do that to be able to determine something for later.
Mm,
Hey, my performance is great.
Oh dang. Okay. So you somehow managed to play this harmonica so well. It sounds like there are at least 2 other backing instruments. And with that, the camp setting up is not only just an active camp setting up, but it's also a montage. So
I'm already done. I didn't need a montage.
yeah, Lucian setting up the tent was like 2 cuts and a side wipe. You didn't even need that long.
I think I'm going to light my lamp that I bought as well and sort of go in and maybe start glancing through this notebook that I have now.
All right. So yeah, while everybody else is thinking about how their sleeping arrangements are going to be out in the middle of the woods in here, Lucian, you're seeing what appear to be log notes of what was going on down there. Like, nothing in a lot of detail. Like, the way it's written seems to be like anybody who's already know bits, but there are like dates for when specific kinds of undead were first brought in, were being tested out, from when the first one was like successfully woken up. There are also several diagrams of these whistles, and a couple of places, and there's one spot around like near the end of where everything's, well, near the middle of where everything's been written down, where there are a couple of pages that seem to have been like scribbled out, like not in a lot of detail necessarily, but where there were like project notes and everything. But like there's the end of the sequence isn't there, and like the page was just scribbled out, like somebody was like frustrated and just had to scrap a bunch of stuff. And starting from the back of the notebook, working their way to the front, there's a few diagrams of these whistles you have, and they're called the Night Caller. And judging from what from the descriptions underneath the diagrams and some of the reports in the log notes, they're used to they don't work very often. Like, it seems there's a very long cooldown time, and some of the experiments they were doing there with like draining the magic items was speed up the process to make it so you could like do it once a day instead of once a week. But they're essentially what's been being used to animate some of the tougher to bring about undead. And it looks like if you blow the whistle when the animate dead feature has been expended, or even if you blow it before it's been expended, you can use it to reassert control of an undead that's gone bonkers. Like, maybe it's been turned, or maybe it's lost its focus and starts doing something nobody told it to.
Oh.
That's frightening.
Yeah, so it's
And
a
I'll-
really good thing we have these.
And I will
Tell
keep it a
the rest
secret.
of us.
Well, it's nighttime. I'm reading it before bed. Very riveting, but disgusting nonetheless. And in the morning, when it comes around to it, I will probably ask for all the whistles back. But I think after that, Lucian will pass out and wake up early enough to take first watch or third watch.
Okay. Lucian, as you are on third watch, because third watch is last watch, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So not second watch?
Nope. Early bird.
So, as you are on third watch, normally I'd say roll for it, but you have a pretty high passive perception, and you'd probably be keeping an eye on the bodies. You see something slinking out of the forest. There are a couple of these things you've been seeing look like regular forest animals, like Underdark refugees. This thing definitely came out of the Underdark at some point. Like it's really gangly and has one enormous eye set in the center of its forehead, but not in like a in like a cyclops kind of way, as in like it's just taking the whole front of the head, and it's running its tongue over its little needle-like teeth as it's heading toward the body, like the destroyed body.
Ew.
Can I stealth?
Yes. Well, maybe it is just +2 to perception. Okay. So, and that's on top of +0 to wisdom properly. Man, I've gotten to roll a lot of 1d2s tonight. Nope, that's a 3 +2. Okay, so it sees you.
Yep. I'll look at it and sort of, I guess, judge it. Sort of try to take it in. Do I think it's humanoid in any form?
No, it seems to be like bipedal, but judging by just the way it moves and the way its limbs seem to be put together, like the legs are too high up on its body. The actual stance is distorted and almost bestial. You'd say like probably a monstrosity or an aberration.
Okay, something completely foreign then. I'm the only one awake. How far from the camp might we be? Like, are they on the edge of the camp? Is that where we kind of left the bodies for the night?
I mean, it's your guys' decision where the bodies are. Where would you have kept them? Would you have kept them at the center of the camp, or like around the edge because they might start to smell? Or
Dax, what would you say?
Well, Dax would have asked Damien because he's the survivalist type. I mean, myself, I know that like we probably should have strung him up in a tree or something, but I don't know if Dax would know that.
I'm gonna say that, like, Damien would probably, if that's like a common survivalist piece of information, Damien would probably also know it. Because good nature skill, and so yeah, you probably like tied them up there with the torn up pieces of Brand's rope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have rope too, so I still have. We tied him up with a piece of my rope, but like I figure we probably usually use not more than like 6 to 8 feet to tie up that halfling, and I just tied 50 feet. So
okay.
So it's tied up like out of like immediate reach.
So yeah, it's underneath the tree that you were tying these bodies up in. Like when Lucian first saw it, it was staring hungrily up at the body that was like more destroyed, probably because it was easier to smell from far away.
I thought we just took like the fairly intact one.
Oh, okay.
I
So you
was
just
only
took the
gonna.
fairly intact one? I thought you took
Yeah.
like that one and the destroyed one. Okay, just look
No,
for the regular body then.
No.
Yeah, just if given the option, it would eat the one that was easier to break down. But if there's just one, it just wants the one.
Okay.
Well, we did have the Tabaxi as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
the
were
skeleton.
All right. So if it's in front of me and it's made eye contact with me, I will take the dodge action just in case, just being on guard, and I want to let out a high pitched whistle if I could. I don't want to shout completely to alarm them, but I want something piercing enough to at least get my companions to notice.
All right.
Ran will probably spring into action. What the hell is that noise?
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Right.
roll or anything. Like everybody can wake up. What it takes for you guys to wake up and what that means. Like, for example, I know that if you sleep in armor heavier than light, you don't get your full long rest benefit. So Daxmir probably takes his armor off to sleep and stuff like that. But like,
Probably. There's some special thing like a feat or something you have to sleep in armor, isn't there?
I don't remember.
Something like that.
Can I do nature check? No.
Sure. Okay.
Survivalist. That's right. Haha.
So this is a Nothic. Despite its relatively bestial appearance, it is fully intelligent, but this thing was probably just focused on this body because it smelled the rotting flesh and wanted to do something to scavenge. In addition to the whole scavenging thing, another association they have with rotting is they can when they make contact with somebody, like when they make eye contact with somebody, or even just by, it's a gaze attack. I don't know if 5th edition has like gaze attack wording, but it's a gaze attack that they can do to drain the life force out of somebody by rotting at them.
Well,
And it is an aberration, by the way.
I'm gonna tell the information to Lucian because he's inside.
Yeah, I'm currently deadlocked with this thing right now. Oh God.
Hey, don't look at it directly. It could kill you.
Well, too late now. I'm tracking it.
Do I have to roll?
Do you want to try and like do a full on knockdown brawl and try and just kill it, or do you want to try and do something to scare it off?
Thank you, Hermione.
I don't know what that's a reference to.
The Harry Potter reference.
Well, I know who Hermione is, but I don't know what
Okay.
it means.
The basilisk, right?
Oh, okay.
What do I have to do to scare him off? Do I have to roll nature or something?
You could do whatever you want. Maybe judging by the fact that it's got a really big eye and this species used to live in the Underdark, maybe a bright flash of light might be able to do it, or maybe you can just do something super impressive and frighten it away, or
You know, it'd be
like
really
there are
great.
a couple of different things. Also, I'm not gonna lay out every option, but that's something that would probably pretty easily come to your mind. Like, hey, it's got a really big eye. Try looking at this.
I'm gonna shout at Tirza. Tirza, use your light thingy.
Yeah. Huh?
Here's
Wake up! You
for the purposes of just for giving letting you know all your options.
No, I
Even
heard
though
it. I'm just being.
all right, no. I'm just saying, even though you haven't gotten all the benefits of a long rest yet, since you have been asleep for at least an hour, you will have gotten all your back because of the short rest.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, light's a cantrip. Wait, why don't I have light on here? Light's a cantrip, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Ah,
Maybe you just forgot to write it.
apparently. Dum. Okay. And then yeah, she'll yawn. She was probably snoring like 2 minutes ago. And just sort of like sleepily.
Tears
wave
is an ungraceful sleeper.
True. Kind of like wave a hand. I think light is you have to light up something in particular, but shoot.
You can just create a glowing
Can we? Okay.
force in front of you, but you can also just put like light on something. Like if you want to put light on a rock and throw it down a hole to see how deep the hole is, that's a classic example.
But yeah, she would just like to make
Put it on
another
my dagger
ball of
and I'll
light
throw
in
it
front of the
anything.
thing.
Hold on, two of you were talking at the same time.
no, Tirza first.
Yeah, she's gonna make a little ball of light directly in front of the thing's face.
All right.
That is the plan. Suddenly it cannot see.
All right, your intent is to try and blind it then?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say that because of its circumstances, that means it has a constitution save. Oh,
Well,
okay.
Interesting. How does this happen?
Well, that's a save. It's successfully saved.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
trying to. If it's like anyway, good.
Yeah. So yeah, you make a massive flash of light in front of it, and it rears back. It says something. You don't know exactly like what it says because the one person in the group who speaks Undercommon is Damien, and I don't know that he's necessarily like all the way up yet because Damien's like not here, and I don't know what he's done. But it says something and like holds a hand in front of its face, but it seems to be like shielding its eye with that hand, and the other one is still fully able to go around, and it's clearly uncomfortable, but it's not blinded or anything.
Okay. Daxmir, once he gets aware enough to realize what's going on, he will provide the bang to Tears' flash and use thaumaturgy to just make the sound of like a crack, like a firecracker going off right in front of it. There's nothing to see, it's just a crack.
All right. You know what? I'm going to say intimidation check.
Okay.
All right. So it's startled, not enough to like book and run, but it backs up. It's trying to get away from the source of this light and whatever it is that's making sound. It's farther away from the tree at this point, but is still fully within view and seems to be preparing to circle around and try something else.
I'm going to attempt to startle it myself by taking like a quick step forward, almost like similar to a lunge, but I'm not actually going in for an attack. I'm just sort of showing it that I am faster.
Well, at this point, it's too far away for you to actually like do an attack. So if you're trying to like feint it out, not going to be like as impressed. Or are you just trying to be?
I'm just trying to be imposing.
He's
like
being macho,
trying
is
to
what he's doing.
trying to bolster myself, like what you might do with a mildly aggressive dog, or
You know what? Since you don't get to break this out very often, performance check.
guess what else I have a negative modifier in.
Wait, you have negative to charisma.
Oh dear.
Big oof.
It's not even a 1, it's a 0.
Lucian trips over his feet. Poor Lucian.
I was about to say, do I actually like sprain my ankle trying this?
Oh dear, please no.
Oh, my hip. Oh, my hip.
So, you know those things where you're like, you're walking around at night and your foot catches in something and it twists at this in this horrible way, like I don't necessarily know, like maybe it's just a thing that that happens to me a lot, but where there's like a slight change in elevation. So Lucian's going around trying to make his "I'm so much faster and more dramatic than you" scenario, and yeah, his foot catches in something as the elevation change, and maybe he like lets out a small pain noise, or maybe his body just suddenly shifts to accommodate the unpleasant stimulation he's now encountered. But the Nothic is not just not intimidated, but is now significantly emboldened and runs up, leaps over Lucian, and grabs onto the trunk of the tree and starts to climb up at it to get at the body.
Great.
Let's kill it.
How close are we to it? From the campfire? Because I'm still probably wherever by the tree.
I'm going to say
wherever
you're
David-
within a movement.
So within range for my short bow?
Yes.
Okay, here goes. Oh!
Yeah, that gets it.
Oh! Max damage!
Isn't that plus? Oh wait, no dex, right?
Nope.
All right. It hisses and mutters something else as it rips the short bow arrow out of its neck. I mean, not its neck, its shoulder, with its other hand.
I'm gonna. Can I action dash and tries to jump up so
Yes.
I don't have to jump up and shove my rapier, please, but
Yeah.
yeah, well, I failed at my jump. Doesn't jump high enough.
Yeah, you could have like climbed up the tree to try and get it. But you tried to do a shot.
I would just like to blast it, please.
Yeah. Go for it.
Freaking, why do I keep doing this?
All right. It's a clear hit.
I think
Very little
I
damage.
think I need to take that agonizing blast
Helling blast though.
invocation.
Oh wait, you have the thing where you can push it.
No, I don't.
Oh,
Wait,
you
you
swapped
didn't?
that out for something?
Yeah, because I wanted voice of.
Oh, because you wanted to have Voice of the Chainmaster. That's
Uh huh. And then you were like, hey, what about spirit bound speech? And I was like, oh, I want that too. I want all the invocations. It's a problem. I need like 7.
All right. So yeah, you try and aim at it, but most of your blast is absorbed by the branch.
She's still tired.
So it scans the lot of you and sees that some of you have acted, some of you haven't. Kriv hasn't done anything yet, and it targets him with like its eye glows a sickly yellowish green light. And Kriv, make a Constitution. Okay.
Not bad.
So the magical rotting gaze of this creature just Kriv is just somehow able to shove the magical effects off of himself and takes no damage.
Nice.
And that's its whole action to do it, so
I've seen worse.
Okay, we just fought a
it uses
cat.
its move to like climb the rest of the way up and get right over where the body is, but can't do anything about it yet.
I would like to expend just lost it. I literally just had it. Sorcery point. For a magic missile.
That requires a sorcery point?
Well, I'm all out of spell slots because all the fights.
We just had a long rest.
Or, no,
Just-
just a short
yeah.
No,
rest.
not yet.
Yeah, you get the benefits of a rest of this, but right now it's just the benefits of rest. I meant to do something and like mess around with the way it's work because like I found like sorcerers have a much worse spell recovery method than all the other casters, which is probably why the person who said to you earlier, Kazuto, that like sorcerer was a trap option was saying that. So I'm probably gonna need to like mess around with the way sorcery points work so you can get them back easier.
Yeah, that'd be great. Why did I get 2 ones?
Like definitely at least there's gonna be a 1-to-1 like with the sorcery points to spell slots, like so that when you make sorcery points into spell slots and spell slots into sorcery points, you can switch them back 1-to-1, because that thing that they do where it's like you spend a bunch of sorcery points for essentially nothing if you're trying to turn sorcery points into a spell slot and then turn it back into sorcery points, that's ridiculous. Anyway, so that's 8 damage.
Yep.
So you strike this thing again with 3 magic missiles, and I'm gonna say oh, it gets a +2 to strength. Look at that. D20 +2 again. Alright, so it's able to hang on. But the 3 blasts of force to its side are able to just jostle it out of place for a little bit.
Are we around to me again? Can I shoot it again?
Yes.
Okay. Whoa!
All right.
Getting the good rolls on this that I wanted on my other stuff.
Oh, how high is it, by the way, Othra?
How high would you reasonably have put the body up the tree? Maybe like
Like-
10, 15 feet?
At least 10 feet because out of bear range, which I would estimate to be something like 9 to 10 feet.
Yeah, okay. So maybe like 15 feet up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's approximately 15 feet up. Currently after Kriv shoved off the magical effect, it's like whatever, and it's just trying to undo the knots.
Okay, then. This will be interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna back off like
I did max
30
damage
feet.
again.
Dang!
Oh yeah.
All right.
Alright, try hard.
So it is looking
Oh, wow.
pretty significantly it is looking pretty significantly damaged, and I'm going to say that what's your charisma modifier, Dax?
Charisma? Plus
Yeah.
4.
All right. But at this point, it's just like sunk cost fallacied into itself, and isn't allowing itself to just run away because it's under attack at this point.
I'm gonna back up like 30 feet from the Nosser and then shoot it with my crossbow.
All right. Everybody is hitting. All right. Dang, okay. All right. So now for that. Okay, so it just manages to slice through some of the knots with its claws after spending a bit of time trying to actually like untangle them and realizing it's not going to get anywhere like that. And after like slashing open no, you don't have it in a sack, maybe. But if you do have it in a sack, it like slashes it open a little bit, looks in there, like, yeah, this is fresh, and jumps down, holding the body. Which, Lucian, you said you were holding your action in case the Nothic jumped down. Psh, okay. All right.
Yay.
And Lucian gets in a big hit. The Nothic is clinging to life, and you see an expression cross its face that maybe it missed its opportunity to run.
One more.
I did
And
12 points
the
of
Nothic
damage.
uses its
Like, oh, crap,
move to run as far away as possible, but considering it's not any faster than the average human, it's not that far away.
I'm gonna. Oh yes, it's my time. I'm gonna cunning action dash and just runs and shove my rapier up his butt. Oh no.
You trip over the same hole Lucian's foot got caught in. You don't like twist your ankle or anything, but your toes get stuck in it and you fall on your face for a second.
Tirza holds out a hand. You woke me up.
But that thing, you know that thing. You know that thing, huh? You know that thing.
All right.
Another
Your
burst of
awakeness
green light.
anger manifests in presumably, I'm guessing, an Eldritch Blast.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Ah, dang it.
No sidekick, no alcohol until you're done with the. Come on.
Well, I did one more damage than I did last time.
That is just enough, actually. That is just enough. So you blast it square in the back. It yelps, trips. As it trips, the body goes flying through the air, and the Nothic collapses to the ground.
Yay. After standing up, I'm gonna play my harmonica, the victory theme of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah.
Oh, going old school. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna walk away from that tune and go get the body.
Yeah, we should probably. What do we want to do with this thing? Should we just drag it like a good distance away, so like anything else coming after bodies will come after that?
We could drop it like an hour or so into our journey back, just to
We're not done sleeping
Clear it.
yet.
Yeah,
well, sure, fine, whatever.
yeah. Just like we should just drag it like at least like 100 feet away or something, just so anything gets attracted, we'll go over there.
All right. So you drag the Nothic corpse away, drop it on the ground, and finish your sleep.
Yep.
Now you wake up. Did everybody else like just sleep on the ground, or?
I mean, I have a
Yeah.
bedroll.
Oh yeah, you have sleeping bags. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't rain or anything. In fact, it hasn't rained since you got here. Fortunate considering your circumstances on this particular night. But yeah, you wake up. The Nothic corpse seems undisturbed, and it might be that, like, you know, if anything else was gonna take the body, it saw this dead Nothic there and was like, maybe later.
Huh.
Or maybe if anything else was lurking in the shadows, it witnessed you guys beating down on this predator and was like, no, thank you.
Alrighty. So long rest. Spells back.
Yep.
Yay.
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 My spells were already back.
So do we get we get missing max hit points back too?
Yes. You completed your long rest, and you slept off the necrotic damage that was placed on you by those newborn undead.
My healing pool is back. Yay.
You guys have healers again.
Woohoo. That's important.
Agreed.
Okie dokie.
Well, back we go.
Onward.
Onward.
And upward.
Okay. So, since you've already had, since so far this session has consisted mostly of 2 separate rounds of combat, and because you've got Damien and Rand there to help you out with their nature and survival proficiencies, I'm gonna say you don't need to like roll anything on the way back. It takes a while. You're not really used to navigating this far along. You know enough of where the Thornies were to steer around where they were guarding, wherever that was. I mean, unless you want to go in and try and press through and figure out what was on the other side, but I think at this point you might have a little bit higher priorities, but if you want to, you can. All right.
I'm with Lucian. Nope.
Let's get back.
So that's 2 votes no, 1 vote yes.
We'll see you on the other side, Rand.
Yeah, you go
Oh,
have fun.
no. Well, oh, no. Okay then, I'll go with you.
Yeah. So See, after a short while, you pass through the Grung occupied territories. You see a couple of Grung sentries up in the trees. Notice the movement, ready their short bows, recognize you, and then let you pass. And eventually, I don't know why I said occupied territory. They live here, but anyway. Eventually, you emerge at the edge of town.
Whew. All right. Well. Well, where do we go first?
So who do we need to go talk to? And let's not tote this body around too much.
Let's sell our treasure first.
Dead bodies?
Yeah.
We better deal with that first.
Plural?
I'm kind of thinking probably. Let's see. So this business of us taking care of this, like, these problems for the commission, do I feel like we should go to Toriel, or do I feel like we should go to Delilah? Since we've kind of, like, identified the halfling that's apparently in charge of this resurrection the dead thing.
I mean, that's up to you to decide. Do you think this would be something immediately inform the religious groups about? And Toriel is in charge, probably, of
You cut out
standing within the
briefly there.
commission organization itself. That depends on how you're handling this. Like, do you think you need to bring this to, like, police attention, or do you think that you need to go to the religious organization about this? Or maybe you can go and, like, talk to the administrators and figure out what they have.
I'd also like to put the point in there, we didn't find out the leader's name. We only caught one of his henchmen.
Yeah,
Burton.
this is true.
So if we could do that speak with Dead and actually get a possible name out of it,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
run that to authorities.
Yeah.
I mean, generally Dax would go for the religious side. I was just wondering if there's, like, anything I know about the hierarchy that would suggest that, like, we should go to Delilah first. But I'm kind of inclined to go to Toriel first. If we can
Also,
track
that
our
boss
time.
halfling who was talking to Lucian, if he was speaking in common, pretty much asked Martin if they hired more people to break things that they were working on.
Yeah.
So that would imply that
He was
they're
speaking
part of
halfling.
them.
They were all speaking halfling, but
Then Griv wouldn't know this unless someone told him.
In the course of coming back, most likely Dax would have told him.
Yeah,
What
What
so
would Dax have told him exactly?
The guy. Yeah, go ahead.
in the standoff between the lead halfling and Lucian, it sort of was Lucian and him went back and forth on their gentleman standpoints, and Lucian and the words are escaping my mouth and not meaning to. The boss halfling said that they were pretty much a part of the settlement that we're working on. And then Lucian said that we are the people. And then he asked Martin, that's how we got the name.
well, no. Specifically, they didn't say they were part of the commission, but they said they were, like, claiming sacred land. So that could mean they're part of the commission, or it could mean that they're doing something else.
Yeah.
But they did mention the reclamation by name, though, too.
Curious.
So, I mean, if we want to get info and the church or the temple is able to talk to the dead, then that'd be good. But we might want to go to maybe even higher ups about the whole halfling thing if they are a part of the reclamation.
I mean, since this was
The-
like, go ahead.
Specifically, what the commission is doing if you're talking about in terms of like that seems like oddly phrasing, they refer to it as resettling. So if you're talking about like, they're talking about the same thing, like they're trying. It's not the same phrasing; it's similar phrasing. Like, take it how you will, but I'm just saying if your speculation at this point is like, it's the same phrasing, it's not.
I
Just
feel
to
like
clear up.
Uthra's trying to make a point.
No. I'm just saying I don't want you to chase a specific lead based on a certain thing that like you think you're aware of, but it's not actually the same thing. Like your characters would know this.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being a little on the nose, but
Okay. Well, Dax is inclined to go tutorial first then, and see if anybody can like question this guy.
Yeah.
So, what time of day do we come into town? Like, is it like mid morning or?
yeah.
Okay, so Toriel's probably out and about somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie. Well,
Actually, she would have probably been somebody who you encountered fairly early into the actual process of going into the town. Because
Okay.
remember before, like you and the Malenti were talking, you and she and the Malenti were talking about like trying to organize specific patrols in specific ways to coordinate with what the Grung are already doing. So she's like out there, like coordinating with everything, giving a couple of buffs to some of the guards. Like one of the halflings is getting on one of the axe beaks, and you guys emerge from the forest just lugging a corpse.
well, I mean, it's not obviously well, okay, I guess it's pretty obviously a corpse, but it is at least wrapped up.
Yeah.
And actually, it would look a little weird because what Daxmir would have done is, since he was instructed by the Celestial Dog to like take special care of this Tabaxi skeleton, he would have wrapped that up on the inside and then like put the like a couple layers of wrap and then put like the other body like on the outside and then like whipped everything up with rope on the outside
Okay.
to carry it more easily. So it would be kind of like a weird looking bundle.
So you emerge. The guards are surprised. Toriel is also surprised, but it lasts for like a second or so before she recomposes herself. And she doesn't approach you because she's currently like in the middle of casting a buff on somebody. But she, if you approach her, then
We'll kind of come up and I'll like wait till she's finished and I'll put my burden down. And now just making sure, did she specifically tell us to go to this place? Who was it that told us to go to this place? That was something the Grung that we got from the Grung, right?
It was Kelsolak that told you about the place. Actually.
Okay.
He didn't tell you how the Grung had figured it out, but if you want to have like asked around the like, or well, actually, it's just Kelsolak and the Malenti that speak common. So
Right.
like asked Kelsolak with a decent amount of information. He probably would have like talked about the tall man, but in a
Right.
sort of way that's like that he sort of sees it like a cryptid more than like him. He sort of sees the tall man more like a cryptid than a person, but like gave real information, so there's some truth to it.
Okay. Alrighty. I just wanted to make sure that like we didn't like hair off there like out of nothing. But I remembered like hearing either Kel Solak or the Malenti saying something about finding that out from the tall man, because we was referring to our little drunk side shot. So
Yeah.
okay, alrighty, all right. Well, he'll put his burden down and kind of like, I guess, wait for a tutorial to be finished, and he's not going to start unwrapping it yet because they're probably going to want to go somewhere to like debrief. So
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, if you approach Toriel,
Yeah.
she turns to you. I see you found something. Did you say
Uh,
the halfling is like you can see the halfling's body from outside where everything's wrapped up, or is it like
no. It's he would have rewrapped it, and actually, like Daxby would probably have like a little needle and thread or something, and he probably like whip stitched up the rips just so it wouldn't
okay.
be like all over. And
Very
he
meticulous.
he rewrapped it. He rewrapped it so that nothing is showing.
Okay.
So no. So he said, yes, we found a lot of things. We located our necromancers, or at least a good number of them. And he'll just like go through and tell her, with Lucian and Crib backing it up, what they saw and what happened. That's a long story, so to tell in character. So
Yeah, no, I'm just like, side wipe, like sound effect. Oh
Yeah.
wow, what a story.
yeah. So does she? What kind of reaction does she give when he tells about the dog, the celestial dog? Then she recognizes, or
She seems like pretty much all of this information seems to be like some level of genuinely surprising. Like it varies depending on specifically you say, but when you talk about by the way, there's a celestial dog that's got a big that's guarding a spell crypt down here. She, I would almost say, does a double take, but she's too composed to do that. Like her eyes widen and her facial expression kind of changes for a second, like she's trying to figure out whether she like misheard what you just said. But
yeah.
Well,
Well,
when,
oh, go ahead, Rand.
when he does that, I'm gonna say, yeah, Celestial Dog, and it's pretty cool. She helped us fight the undead. Like, super excited about this Celestial Dog. Like, the dog is our savior of the day.
Anyway, he'll wind up by telling her that they weren't able to get any live captives, but they did bring back one of the necromancers in case like they could find some connection, figure out by whoever it was what connection he had to the leader. And he'll tell he can tell her the name. What was the name? Martin?
Mhm.
Yeah, he'll tell her the one of the two is named Martin. We didn't catch the name of the leader, but we'll have to go back and hunt them down, unfortunately, because they got away.
do you show the body to her?
I mean, yeah, if she asks me to.
Yeah. At
Yeah.
some point she'll
All right,
probably
yeah,
at
I'll
some
unwrap
point,
him.
like if you talk about like we've got one of the necromancers,
Yeah.
she'll ask about it.
Yeah, that would have been part of what he told her, so he'll unwrap it and take out that body. I mean, it's you said it was fall and it's like a little like not real hot, so it shouldn't be
Yeah.
too bad yet.
Yeah. She looks at the body, examines it, probably tries to lift it up at a couple of different angles. I have no idea who this is.
Mhm.
And that's concerning.
Hmm.
If it's someone who's supposed to be living here, then I should have at least seen them. I don't forget details like this.
Jax just nods. And he'll also mention like some of the like we found, like a few weapons and some, items that they had been working on, and I didn't know if they had gotten them, maybe stolen them from the commission, or I mean, if they had some route in here that we don't know about.
As in magic items?
Yeah, but they were draining the power out of them, so most of them were already defunct. We can like show her something that like that didn't work out of the sack.
Yeah, Criff's just gonna put his hand in and grab something out.
Yeah, you just like take out a cloak or something and hand it over, and she looks at it, like examines some of the arcane markings around the back that used to hold an enchantment charge. We haven't been bringing in anything magical. If anyone brought anything from home on their own, it wouldn't have been. How many things are in that sack?
Cool,
I
we'll
don't
just
know.
look through and just be like, 5, 7, a lot. There's a lot.
There are definitely more than the 6 or 7 or how many people were occupying that crypt. It would take a lot of work to collect this much magic. I'm just saying things out loud. I'm not contributing anything. She's got one of her hands up to her head, like she's trying to figure something out, and she's absolutely convinced that she should know what is going on. Like, you can, at this point, like some of her composure is slipped because she's like trying to focus, and you can like read it in her face.
I suppose I'll speak up at this point. Right, dear. What healer might you have that can speak with this deceased? We need information from them. They weren't willing when we confronted them earlier, and unfortunately, this was the end result of our negotiations. So we need at least a name. If that's something to work off of, that's all we need from you.
We're going to need to take him back to the temple. I don't usually prepare these kinds of spells. Maybe Glynis will have a scroll or something for emergencies.
All right. He'll rewrite. He'll also, would he have brought up the Tabaxi skeleton? Probably. He probably would have mentioned that as an aside, but I mean, that the Celestial Dog specifically asked them to give this one a respectful burial, so. But anyway, he'll like wrap it back up, I guess, to take it to the temple.
All right. Yeah, if you mention a name, if you mention his name,
Yeah.
then she nods, seeming to recognize it, like having heard it before. but doesn't like just start describing like who this was or going into a bunch of detail or anything, but like clear like, oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, well, barring anything else, Daxmir will heft it ready to take it back to the temple.
All right. So as you're heading through, like carrying a body, you pass by some people on your way to the temple, and like there are a couple who are like, oh no, what's going on? There's one who seems frozen with fright and surprise, and Toriel's like, no, Clancy, it's okay. And like Clancy remains frozen with fright as you guys go into the temple, but there are a few other townsfolk that seem to be a lot more actively interested and gather up near the temple entrance like, oh, what's going on? They came back. They've been gone all day and they came body.
I want to insight check Clancy.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just run through it.
Clancy finally suddenly sees like a pair of silver tiefling eyes just dead on his.
Me
Alright.
too.
All right.
Oh!
Okay. Well, the good news is, even though I have a list of names in case I want to give a halfling NPC something, so like everybody I give a name guilty, you do Daxmir, you do like notice like he seems to recognize something about this, and like it's like an immediate sort of just the immediate sort of shock that can only come from someone seeing something they expected never to see again.
I mean, I'm not carrying him so he's visible and recognizable.
Oh, okay.
He's not visible. I wrapped him back up.
Oh, okay.
So
Then never
sorry.
mind. All of this
Okay.
is fake then.
Okay.
Oh.
No, I didn't. No, I did not. I didn't have him visible.
Okay.
All they
I
see
thought
is
you
a
would have been
bundle.
like you were seeing the robes and everything.
No.
But this is such a
Okay.
cool scene.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe a hand slipped out or something.
That wouldn't. No.
Or like,
Max knows how to wrap somebody
no,
up.
it didn't cover his
Sorry,
face
guys.
or something.
All right. So
Okay.
yeah, Clancy is part of the surprised throng, but doesn't like freeze up like that.
Okay.
And if anybody says his name, it's not in any sort of way that you. But yeah, there are a couple of people who are like, "What's that? What's going on?" They're bringing in the body. Glynis and Horace are talking about something in one of the back rooms. Like, they seem to be like having some sort of relatively petty debate. Like you go in and Toriel breaks up their discussion. Like they seem to have been talking about like the merits of different kinds of fruit, and Daxmir comes in carrying this halfling corpse.
I come in carrying a bundle. It kind of looks like a corpse, but it's actually a corpse and a skeleton, so it's still not like quite the shape that like the obvious shape that like a singular body would be, since it's all kind of rolled up together. Because like I've got a halfling-sized body and then it's a Tabaxi-sized skeleton.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, like that.
So you drop these two bodies on the ground. Glynis looks at them.
No, I'm putting a wrapped bundle down
Okay,
that's tied
all
with
right.
rope.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, all
Yeah.
this. There are so many things here that are like, all right. So is the body out or not out yet?
The
Body
body is okay. It's not out. He's gonna
Okay.
wait for Toriel say so before he unwraps it.
Yeah, Toriel is describing like that they found somebody out there, and Glynis should prepare a speak with dead scroll or something else
Okay.
if she has one, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he'll take that for his cue then and start unwrapping, and he'll take the halfling body out and then kind of rewrap around the skeleton so them to kind of put aside
Okay.
for whenever they're
So
going to bury
Glynis
it.
is noticeably less shocked than if we
Right.
think like a body dropped there.
No, I'm not. I'm not one of the dark and dicey, cast members. I'm not going to carry a random body through town for everybody to see.
All right. So
So now there is a body lying on the temple floor,
yeah.
and he's not going to throw it down and be horrible. He'll just lay it down
Just
with
place
a
it
reasonable amount of care.
Yeah.
Okay, I will step away for just a moment.
Horace is casting a few curious glances at the rest of the bundle that you like pushed off to the side, because clearly there's more stuff in there. Like when it seems like you're not looking, he seems like he's like tilting his head around trying to get a good look at what's in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's still like. See, like I said, I wrapped up the Tabaxi skeleton in the middle and the kind of the halfway body towards the outside. So it's still like rolled around.
If there's any like rips in there, or any spots where it's open. He realizes that it's going to be like a social faux pas to run over and like unwrap this corpse burrito. But
yeah, and well, he might have noticed that like when Dax laid this like skeleton aside, he was noticeably like he was not like disrespectful about laying down the halfling body, but it was just sort of like utilitarian. I'm gonna lay it down carefully so it doesn't get damaged. Whereas the Tabaxi skeleton, he's like a lot more kind of like reverent and careful about how he puts it down.
Okay.
And I need to step away for just a moment, so I'll be right back.
Yeah, the corpse burrito thing. That's a term from Kale's game. I didn't make.
Oh, okay. No, I've heard that before. One second.
Yeah. Yeah, whoever said that in Kale's game probably made it. Probably learned it from someplace else as well. But yeah. Okay, so Glynis leaves. You can hear some shuffling around, some opening and closing doors. Anyway, some opening and closing of drawers, rather, as she's trying to go and get the scroll that's needed. And after a minute or so, she walks out with a sealed tube. She undoes the cap on top, and a scroll is drawn out. before she casts it, she lets you know the spell ends after 5 questions.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, I'm back.
So we have to plan those 5 questions very
Yes.
carefully.
Yes, we do.
And if you don't ask all 5 questions within the first 10 minutes following the casting of the spell ends anyway.
Can we plan out the questions first?
Yes, you can. She hasn't cast the spell yet. She's just like describing to you how it works so that you don't just like accidentally ask 2 or 3 like why questions without having any sort of plan.
May I suggest, what was the name of every person in the tomb when we arrived?
Oh heck. Okay.
Sorry, is that breaking it a little bit too much?
I didn't have that many names planned. I can say that it tells that the corpse tells you the names, and then like look up some names and post them in the channel later. But I didn't have that many names planned.
Well, I mean, you
Okay.
gave us 5 questions, and I want to make sure.
No, I know that's a good thing to ask. Like, hey, who are all the people who worked on crypt detail with you? Like, that's a good question to ask. I just didn't have all the names prepared. That's on me. I have
fair.
names, but I had like a couple of things. Like, if anybody calls anybody by name, it will be like these guys who are called by name because I have their names.
Yes. Okay. Well, I mean, Dax is gonna see. Is Toriel there, or did she not come with us?
No, Toriel is still there. Toriel
Okay.
was the one briefing Glynis about like, okay, so this corpse. Not with that sort of tone, obviously, but you know.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So Glynis doesn't look like this is anybody she recognizes, either.
Glynis seems more shocked by the fact that there is now a body lying on her temple than anything. Like,
Yeah.
she's more composed because she was warned about it beforehand, but it's like a let me take a good look at this person's face. Like a okay, I know what I need to do. I've been training for this. There is a
Okay.
corpse.
Yes. Okay. Well, I mean, then Dax would probably like be more inclined to like see what Toriel wants them to ask.
Well, he's not just gonna tell us.
Huh?
I can currently think of 2 questions that probably need answered.
The halflings not just gonna like tell you things.
Oh, I meant Dax was like, I'm gonna see what Toriel wants me to ask. So I meant
Toriel is a
you're-
she.
No, but you're not just gonna be like, hey, here are some good things to ask.
10 questions to ask the undead halfling, or the reanimated halfling that are summoning the undead to torment Slurry.
Number
Yeah,
3 will
oddly
shock
enough, Toriel's not really like woken up today with like,
you. Okay.
man, I have some great interrogation question ideas. Like she didn't
Okay.
know anyone would need to be interrogated today.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
don't
Was
mean
it
to make
Kriv or
fun.
was it Lucian? Who had
Lucian.
Okay.
So, I mean, question number 1, who their leader is by name, clearly.
If we want to replace what I said with that, that's fine.
I'm also thinking just in general, any inner settlement, like spies or anybody favorable to their cause that may have infiltrated parts of the settlement commission or just in general the towns.
That's a good one.
Because
Can
they can't be do this alone without some type of financial support or some type of
So
continuous.
this is like 4 sub questions. What question do you ask specifically? Because you've asked like one thing and then like 3 different things that are all slightly different things. Like what's your first question? I just want to know so I can give a specific answer.
Well, I think
And also
we're,
so I can
we're,
keep-
we're spitballing right now.
We're just,
Okay.
Yeah, we're just getting ready. We're not ready to start yet. We're just
All right. Sorry, I
Discussing.
misinterpreted what you were going for.
We
Yeah, no.
huddled up and we're like just whispering it over so nobody really hears us.
Mm-hmm. Also, something about their goals, maybe?
Yeah.
Might be worthwhile.
Maybe their pace of activity besides the hound script.
Okay, yeah. Can we get some undead or some, I guess kind of undead monologues going here?
Actually, I had a question. Can they lie under Speak with Dead?
That's a good question.
I'll ask Glynis that. Can they? If
The
we do
corpse
Speak
is
with
under
Dead,
no
can they lie?
compulsion to offer a truthful answer if it's hostile to it or it recognizes you, but it must answer the question.
Should we not be the ones to ask the questions?
We have-
Should we give them a list and then walk out of the room so they don't know it's us?
Or
Oh,
is
yeah.
there someone who could cast Zone of Truth in addition?
Is that how that works?
I don't know.
I
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I'm just saying that in terms of like maybe like that's honestly like an interesting sort of caveat for that. Let me because it's not a creature anymore. It doesn't have like ability score. It's like an animating spirit, so it can't like make saving throws.
Let's go get Kelsolak. Let's do this as like
Oh, that's
like
not
them and us.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh. Oh. Well. Yeah. If it can't make a charisma saving throw.
Doesn't it
Huh.
just automatically?
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Would it automatically fail or just automatically not happen at all?
Now we're playing with portals. This is gonna be fun.
An affected creature is aware of the spell and can thus avoid, but it can't because it's made to answer the question.
But I guess if it's no longer a creature, then wouldn't be affected by Zone of Truth.
I don't know. It was a
I
creature.
don't know. Sounds like a question for Christopher Perkins.
True.
And bodies are considered objects.
Ah.
That's why you can stuff a corpse into a bag of holding, or actually, I think carry it relatively easy too, compared to like a normal human being.
Well, you can put a person in a bag of holding too. They'll suffocate.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
think of
let me
the
look at-
exact example I was thinking of.
If you put an air genasi in there, they'll just stay in there for as long as they need to. So they don't need to breathe. They can hold their breath for as long as they want. Or if you put a Warforged in there and then forget about them, and then like 3 years later you open the bag, they step out like, oh good, I was wondering when I'd get light again.
Oh, that makes me
I remember-
sad.
I remember reading a story about that one time, to where it was like an artificer or something that didn't need to breathe, so they had a pocket dimension in their bag of holding that was their laboratory, and then their party evidently blew up like a lot of dynamite and destroyed the bag of holding, so they were cast into the astral sea while the rest of their party got TPK'd by the explosion.
And then what happened to them? What happened to the artificer? Like the party died, obviously.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's close to this.
Anyway, so yeah, that aside. Ooh, that's also a good idea.
If one of them was magical and setting on the thing, it could have been something Kriv grabbed. I mean, a Dragonborn that's 6'2" is not going to go out of his way to grab a halfling's cloak, but
Well, I mean, we have what's on the corpse. Wouldn't
I'm
be
s-
very
I'm-
nice for anyone to put on, but anyway.
I still think just having somebody else other than us ask them the
Yeah,
question should
you're
mitigate.
probably- Yeah, we should probably be out of sight, actually.
We'll be in the room behind the double-sided mirror.
Okay, so... Oh, you know what? We should ask it? We should ask it, how many people... Like, ask it to name who got away. Who survived. As if we're asking, like... from a friendly side. Or, like, whoever asks. Like, who escaped? Who escaped the people who attacked the crypt?
It's an interesting way of going about it.
And how much did you get accomplished before they attacked?
How much of our goals did you accomplish? And by the way, I forgot what those were.
They used word magic and made me forget my memory.
Could I possibly suggest an edit to question 1 is who all was working at the crypt? Because
Well, the reason I want to phrase it that way is because it'll be more likely that it'll sound like the person questioning them is on their side.
did they die before we knew who escaped, though?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the corpse
Yeah,
knows
good
what
point.
it knew in life.
Right.
Can't learn new information. So
Yeah,
if we kill them before the last 2 escaped, we won't get answers.
Okay, hold on.
Also, how many splinter cells do you think are currently functioning around the entire settlement itself?
When the crypt attacked. So I'm just reading the questions and yeah.
It was secretly a mimic the entire time.
Oh man, that'd be the worst. That'd be just a colossal sized mimic.
I like number 3. Number 3 is very well worded.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe who orchestrated everything?
Oh yes.
Try to see how high we can go off this one guy.
And where's your other faces or single cell across the plane?
Okay.
You realize we're gonna have like a witch hunt scenario on our hands after number 3 if they give
Yeah.
us a lot of names.
Ultra
like-
wouldn't do that to himself.
Half of the town just gone.
Start kicking in doors.
FBI, open up.
Yeah. Well, Dexter's been worried about this ever since they said that they told us it was halflings doing this. So I was like, oh boy. Okay, no way around it. But the thing is, even though halflings were doing it, there was really no way to know if it was.
That's the question that needs to be answered.
There was still no way to know that it was just halflings. It could just as easily have involved some dragonborn. So
Lucian.
I mean, at that one base, the halfling that was working the giant shadow said the dragonborn aren't allowed.
oh, that's true.
Granted, that could have just been a personal opinion, but still, that's something to take into account.
No, I want ice cream.
That's true.
No, why'd you get rid of it?
Because I want to leave the actual number 5 for an actual question. It was funny. All right, so 5th question. Anything at all.
Bueller.
Place.
Yeah, maybe another base that they have.
I have to. No, Toby's.
What was Kazuto's question 5? I didn't see it because I was writing down names. I was like, I don't have any last names for these guys. I need to look up some. Not look up. These ones I just invented. But like, I need to think of some reasonable last names that sound like halfling last names based on the few halfling last names I've invented so far.
You want me to shoot you some out there?
Sure.
Okay, 1 second.
I feel like how this interrogation is going to work is we're going to get all the way to number 4, and then after we get number 4, we just drop the hammer on him and walk in the room and be like, where are your other bases located? We have all the other information. Just give it up before you die.
Again.
You re-die.
Before you become super dead.
So what was Kazuto's original number 5? Kazuto. Like, I didn't get to
Kazuto's.
see it. Huh?
The only number 5 that I thought of was when Rand said places, I thought of other bases that they have. If you're talking about the joking one that
Because-
Lucian did was ice cream.
Oh, okay. Because, yeah, I didn't see that one. Like, the joke one that everybody's like, wait, no, don't keep that one.
Yeah, it was like number 5. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Pistachio. No, they are truly evil.
And
Wrong
then
answer.
just
How
elaborates.
could you, Othra? How could you?
I've never actually had pistachio ice cream. It might be great. It just has a bad reputation.
It's actually not bad.
It's not bad. People just diss it a lot.
You know, after that answer, we'd have to go all Gallagher on it, just to silence him.
What, like, hit it with a hammer? I don't know anything about Gallagher.
Yeah, that's the only thing about Gallagher is he smashes watermelons with a hammer. So 5 questions, all good. I think.
So, before we do this, I need to tell you all something.
Okay.
You're secretly a halfling. Oh my god.
No, just a minute ago. I tried to take a picture, but it didn't work out, and I was sad. But I need to tell you this for posterity's sake. Toby was playing near my, frickin', what you call it, where you, like, hang clothes to dry? I can't think of what it's called. English. Anyway.
Clothesline.
No. It's like a little, anyway, a little thing where I hang clothes to dry.
I have a mental picture.
And somehow she managed to stick her head through not one, but 2 of my bras. So just take a second.
Good job, Toby.
Yeah.
little like cat, little cat camel, rolling around on the floor.
Oh my god, really? That way? Like, not like bound up in them, but like
Yep,
cape wise?
yep. Anyway, that's all. Sorry for probably more info than you wanted, but like,
Funny. Very funny.
Little cat camel. Okay, I'm done. So do we all skedaddle?
Can I like hide somewhere?
I think we were all hiding somewhere.
Oh yeah, we should all stay in the room, but maybe even have a halfling ask the questions.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So maybe hide behind like some pews.
So, who do you recruit for this? Because Glynis is casting the spell. I don't know that she'd want to have like other layers of involvement in this. Like she might be able to, but wait, let me check. Maybe the caster's the one who has to ask. I don't think it is, but
I don't think so either. Is Horace? Horace is a halfling, isn't he? Is he around?
yeah, he is.
Yeah, get someone that she trusts that's halfling.
Yeah, it just says you can ask the corpse. But
Let's
it
grab
doesn't really specify in the sense that it's like exclusive you, which is important in these cases. So I'm just gonna say like anybody.
I was kidding, by the way.
Oh yeah, it'd be funny if we just like pick a number 1 through 7. Clancy picks like 5, and that's the number.
knew he couldn't be trusted. His name was Clancy.
Tom Clancy. Splinter Cell.
What did you just say?
Nothing.
No, like seriously, what did you just say?
I'm just joking about Clancy, and I was, oh yeah, Tom Clancy.
Oh,
Tom Clancy.
Yeah, I heard that, but I thought I heard you go, Tom Clancy, he's so hot. I'm like, what?
What?
oh man, the famous creator of that video game. What does Tom
a
Clancy
lot.
do?
Splinter Cell, and he also wrote a decent amount of books.
I was thinking more of the books and the video games, but yeah.
I don't remember anything about Tom Clancy. I just recognize the name.
I only play like one game that he created.
Okay, so Taxmir, thank you for giving me such a long list of names because I like about 3 of these.
Okay. I just like basically pulled a plant name generator and went to town, so.
That's fine.
Is it better or worse than Boulder Shoulder?
Oh, they're all better than Boulder Shoulder.
So do what? Do we just like ask a random halfling or?
Well, if it's verified that the caster doesn't have to be the one to ask the questions, and we can go through Toriel to figure out who she trusts.
I mean, probably a halfling should be asking, so.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other halfling, like, priests or clerics besides Glynis?
I mean, like I said before, Horus is a halfling.
Horace
Okay.
then.
Yeah, I'll ask him if he's around. I can ask him. You know, we need someone to ask him, question this guy that he's not immediately going to see as hostile. So
And also, I mean, we're in the room, so it's not like it's a
well, I mean,
random.
we can get out of sight, but
Give me a minute. I'm gonna need to change you to my street clothes. Horus like ducks out for a second. Is going around to his personal quarters and comes back changed out of his clerical outfit and into a pretty basic brown shirt and pants. Okay. I don't have any like whatever those are gestures to the black and gray robes. No, you don't know what kind of clothes I have on right now.
I don't know.
Like
I can't assume.
no, I DM in a full tuxedo. No.
Now that's a
that
classic.
would be amazing.
So dapper.
Okay.
So yeah, Horus doesn't have a big dramatic robe, but he has regular clothes on.
I mean, if the halfling does realize that it's in the town, then it's probably best that it's another halfling in street clothing than even someone in their necromancy robes.
Mm-hmm.
So we good?
Mm-hmm.
Well then.
Let's hide.
All right.
All right. So where do we can I like a speak with dead person under speak with dead like move around, or can they just talk?
They can like sit up and maybe make a couple of basic motions, but not like they just start walking around.
Okay. But it would probably be like best if we could like at least get out of where like it's likely to like look around and see us. Somewhere we can
Yeah.
hear what's going on, but so are we just kind of in the central part of the temple?
Yeah. The main area of the um is just one big room. Like I said, it's like most halfling architecture for this sort of thing is very Romanesque.
Okay.
And there's been some stuff added to the back for like places where you put things, places where there can be more private discussions, storage for like like the scroll that's being used to do this in the first place. But the central part of it, where like the clerics go to do their studying, and where the worshippers go to hear sermons when like when that sort of thing merits that, because there's enough people. It's just
Okay.
one big room.
All right. Well, let's just kind of like get back. I don't know. Can we hide behind the statues? Is there enough room?
Um, Actually, you can go back into the storage room um where this scroll came from, and where like some of the other things are. It's going to be kind of a tight fit putting you all in there. So maybe a couple of you are going to have to step outside, but like you're going to be able to hear from in there.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay outside, but still hiding because I have mad stealth skill.
You could hide on the ceiling.
Yeah, I can hide on the
Spider
ceiling.
Ant. Okay. Dax will go into the storage room. He wants to hear what's going on.
So are you, Ren? You said you were outside. Like, are you out? Because if you're gonna like try and climb up and do something on the ceiling, like you're not really equipped to do that. You don't have like unnatural climb speed unless you want to like harness yourself to the roof. And
Is there any
the people who are in here, like if Toriel is seeing you try and like make a rope, she's gonna like look at you, look at the roof, put together what you're doing, and like put a hand on your shoulder. Stop that.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing that. Of course. Is there any furniture that I can hide behind, but closer to all this thing?
There are a couple of there are a couple of like benches, like sort of set up for, yeah, like I said, there are sermons and things that are sometimes in here. People need to sit down. It's not like everything in here is just benches, like in some religious buildings, but yeah, there's furniture in here.
Because
I'm
just
not
gonna
gonna hide
find
everybody
something
behind, but if
that-
it's just like Kriv, I'm not Kriv. I said Kriv because Kriv's talking. If it just ran and like maybe like one other person, you're gonna be able to hide behind him without any issue.
I'm gonna hide behind a furniture that actually blocks all of my body, so the spirit won't see me hiding.
I'll just be outside.
I would like to be hiding with Ran as well. And I guess we can say Damien's in the storage room with Daxmere.
Yeah. Like everybody who's not specifically saying everything can be just in the storage room. Like I said, there was enough room in there that you all have fit in. It would just be a tight fit and kind of unpleasant.
Okie doke.
All right. So are you going to be like playing the role of like one of you asks a question, I give you the deliberate answer, down the answers? How do you want the format?
That makes sense, but I don't want to volunteer.
Okay, I'll ask.
Yay!
So we just have those 4 questions as we wrote them out, right? Except for
No,
the
5.
last one. 5. Okay,
Weren't
I
there?
see it now.
Okay.
I see it now.
Cool.
All right. All right. So, who was working at the crypt when it was attacked?
All right. So, like I said, I don't have a lot of like halfling names prepared, and I have a couple of names that I have had that I've given first and last names because they're important figures or specific answers to later questions. But all of the names are listed, like all the names. I'll say specifically what they are and post them in the chat later when I decide what sounds like good names.
Okay.
And I'm going to say among all of these that was posted, Martin's last name is Hornbeam, but like first and last names are listed.
Okay.
Oof. Sorry, just a noise from my end.
As he's listing names, Dax is watching Glynis and Horace to see if they how they react to the names that come up. And you can tell me later, like when you list the names, you can tell me like if there was anybody that evoked a
Yeah,
particular reaction.
yeah.
Okay. So
There seems to be like among them a general kind of like for a couple of the names, like none that are like, whoa, that guy, was wondering what happened to that guy. But there are a couple of names it's like, I heard that before, like that kind of recognition, like maybe like a name that like a friend of a friend told you a story about this guy like a year ago, and you're like,
Okay. So he'll ask him, how much did you get accomplished before the attack?
We had recently completed the recreation of the Deathlock process. However, no specific test subjects had been used. None more complicated than that at this point. Other experimental undead have been deemed too dangerous.
Who is there in town that our survivors could safely hide with? And you can give the names as necessary, because that's another name one.
No, I actually have
Okay.
Had this one written down.
How interesting. Othra had that prepared.
No. I was like, okay, I have 3 names. I have 3 reasonable halfling names, 3 good last names, and out of this, there's like, I'm gonna need the name of one NPC for later. I'm gonna attach one of these names to this guy. I know this guy's name. I'm gonna give him a last name because he should have a last name. I have this like planned out decently, but like not in the sense that like, oh man, I'm gonna need everybody's name today. I'm gonna need to organize name priorities.
I feel like we're making a much bigger deal of this than you intended.
I had intended it to be a big deal, but not in the sense it's like, hey, would you like to name 12 NPCs in 5 minutes in a way that sounds convincing?
Oh, I meant bigger deal about the potential traitorous folk in town, that kind of thing.
Oh no, I had that sort of thing in mind.
Oh, okay, cool.
Though the recruitment process has largely been abandoned, Acolyte Mortimer Baldwick still remains within the town's enclosures. Surveying reports unknown. Report was expected within 3 days.
This isn't how the halfling talked in life. I'm just saying, like, speaks in a utilitarian.
Yeah, that's fine. Wait a minute, don't we know a Mort? Or am I imagining?
You know a Norm,
Oh, a Norm, okay.
not a Mortimer.
Okay.
That's Bronswick, isn't it? Not Baldwick.
Okay.
Okay, I'm swapping out the last name with the other one. Mortimer Loomis. Because I don't
Okay.
want to have two NPCs who live in town with very similar last Like I said, this guy didn't even have a last name until like a couple of minutes ago. So I'm fine with. I know it breaks the immersion a little bit, but I would much rather have properly what everybody's names are. Mortimer Loomis.
Okay.
Acolyte.
Got that. So that's 4. Is there anyone else we need to inform about the attack?
Councillor Thomas Almsman has recently been reinstated from previous position. After redeployment, he shall need to know. It could affect our occupation schedule.
Are other locations still secure?
Yes, after
Huh.
the initial breach, the councillor's domain has been redefined, and the specific responsible parties have been reallocated.
Okay, that's our 5.
Wait, another one.
Okay.
The
Racist.
transportation zones, as far as are currently remain in operation.
Okay, so can somebody else write that down who heard all of it? Because Other dropped out a couple times for me. I lost a little bit of it.
It dropped out for me too.
Okay, so the basically all of the transportation zones are still in operation.
And what was the counselor's name?
Thomas
Almsman, right?
Almsman.
Oh, Almsman.
Yes.
I missed an S.
I changed the wording of the last one at the last minute because, like, I was trying to still kind of stay like where we were like, okay, it might be a friendly party, so. At least we know we have other locations somewhere, so
There's
Mhm.
some stuff in there to unpack.
yeah.
So what happens to the body?
Just drops dead again.
Yeah, after the body like sat up during the actual spell, as it was answering the questions, the mouth opened but didn't like open and close. It's just like as it answered the questions, the jaw opens and the answer just comes out, and then the jaw closes as the answer's over. And after the fifth question is answered, the jaw closes again, and the body lies back down, and then goes limp.
All right. Dax will come out.
Then no, would I know what the word acolyte means? I assume.
Yes.
Then you'll see Tirza will pop her head up. Hey Dax, met any acolytes yet? Knowing, church stuff.
Yeah. But not that one.
So I'm curious if anybody does anything? Because presumably this person could be in the building now?
I mean, was Toriel there to listen to?
Yeah, Torio was there. There aren't really acolytes in this temple. Everything's still being set up. Like this particular temple that's here, there are 4 people that work here, and they're each the representatives of the specific religion. Like every once in a while, people come in and they're helping out to clean everything up or get something in order properly. But that's just like the community coming together. Like they're the 4 official employees.
Okay.
Okay.
Like the town, if there were more people than 70 people living in the town, that's a low ball number, but the specific population is roughly around that sort of thing. There might be more around here, but as it is, they wanted to have there be a presence of the major religions in the area, both for the purposes of unity and for the purposes of if anybody gets hurt, somebody needs to be able to cast a spell to make it better.
Okie doke.
Oh, I don't know what should we do with this information, to be honest. Anyone?
Maybe think about it for a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems actually like a decent time.
Yeah, it's 10:30.
So
I'll go sit on a rooftop somewhere.
yeah, as the body sits back down, and Horace is like starts quietly hyperventilating. The mouth didn't move at all during all of that.
Oh, Horace.
Poor Horace.
Well, let's experience.
I like Horace so
Let's-
much more now.
Dax will come over and kind of like put a comforting hand on his shoulder. You
I
might
looked
notice this-
right into his eyes during the first part. I didn't know that was what it was going to look like. I mean, I'm
Well,
fine. I'm okay. It's very distressing.
Well, I see that too, so we're double.
Dax will kind of give him like a bracing pat on the shoulder. Thank you for helping us. I know that was, surely not something you would have preferred to do.
That's an experience and a half.
Can you move out from behind there? And he like shoos ran from behind the bench and sits down, looks back at the body. All right, hope that was useful.
Dax will well, I guess he doesn't have a blanket to cover it up with, so he'll look around at like the people and kind of like, do you want me to do anything particular with this? Do you want me to go bury him, or? Dax does not seem particularly like perturbed about like dealing with a corpse. Oddly enough.
I mean, but Glynis is responding. I mean, we should bury him. Whatever he did in life, like, should give him some level of not respect, I suppose, but
Propriety?
some level of
Propriety.
yeah.
Ryan.
New experience.
Dax face
To
palm.
each his own, I suppose. With the his in this case being you apparently loving corpses. I mean, I don't. You can have it if you want it. Horace
No.
Horace lays down on the bench. Like if you're having a great time, like body, be best friends, go out and have a drink. That's phenomenal. I'm done with it. I'm done with this body.
No. I don't like the corpse, but I like the new experience that we can talk to a corpse. You know me, magic thing. Kinda, interested in this kind of thing, magic-y thingy.
I don't remember if I specifically said, but like at some point he's lying down on the bench. He gestures a hand. You can have the body. You can have all kinds of grand new experiences.
Dax is gonna like throw some ball bearings at Rand's head. You know how like a Paulton throws like whatever he throws, like popcorn at Diaz? That's what he's doing to Rand.
Well, I think a ball bearing is a little bit heavier.
It's a
Wow.
Plunk ow, plunk ow, plunk ow.
Anyway, he'll kind of roll the body back up with the blanket and take it out of the immediate vicinity, like out back or something, just so it's out of everybody's sight. I don't know. I mean, presumably they have something they do with, bodies before they prepare them for burial. So that's
Mhm.
probably something, whatever that is, procedure. that is
Yeah.
Dax would
You
know,
see like Glynis is back in the storage room getting some stuff together.
so. Okay. If she actually does it herself, I'll go help her.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I'm still laughing about the ball bearings.
ball bearings, 1001 uses.
What do you do with the tabaxi skeleton?
I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't presume that's something they really want lying around either. I raised that with Toriel. She never quite gave me like a clear indication of what to do. So, I mean, I guess I'll just ask her if she wants us to like wait or go inter that over in the cemetery or.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll ask that it be buried in the skeleton be buried in the cemetery.
Okay. Okie doke. That's all I got.
Okay. So I have other things I could bring up, but I don't want to necessarily give like a bunch more exposition necessarily since we're already past the normal cutoff time. So if anybody else has anything they want to say, or if anybody else has anything they want to do, then you can do that. And
Sounds like not.
all right.
I'm good.
So yeah, as everybody is discussing this new information, and as Daxmir is either helping Barry or watching the burial of this tabaxi skeleton, and Horace, like you see Horace get up and walk outside. So he's like, it was clearly just like shock, like a couple of minutes, and he's gotten everything back together. So with all that, like I said, unless anybody has anything specific they want to do, that's where we stop for the night.
Okie dokie. We didn't die!
Yeah,
Yay!
it actually went really well.
Yeah. Had some bad rolls, but we also had some really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I am impressed.
I was totally expecting at least one person to almost die in that fight.
and that was me.
Yeah.
I'm talking
That was
about like
kind of
2 failed death saves.
Yeah.
Like on the edge.
Ooh.
Okay, well, I gotta bail, so I'll see you guys later.
Good night.
Alright, good night.
Yeah, I'll be heading out too.